All right, let's get to the Sixers, Rob. And this is so interesting. Philadelphia was up 3-0 on Toronto and looking great, Rob. I mean, Harden wasn't, playing awesome, but Tyrese Maxey was phenomenal, averaged 26 points a game in the first 3 games. And it was looking like, okay, he's picking up. Harden's just kind of the playmaker and giving you still 18 to 20 points. You can live with that. But the last 2 games, Rob, the Raptors, give them credit, right? You're down 3-0. It would be easy to 1-2-3 Cancun. Yep. It really would. It's human nature.
Because it's like the uphill battle. It's just a lot of work you got to put in, and you still probably won't get there, so why even bother? I mean, it is. It's human nature. I agree.
And now, Rob, they are feeling like they not only won the last 2, and let's keep it real, that game 3 could have went either way. When Embiid hit that 3-pointer.
That was an overtime
at the buzzer.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that game could have went either way. So Philly's actually lucky to be up 3-2. But, Rob, the last 2 games, Tyrese Maxey's come back to earth. I said he averaged 26 in the first 3. He's totaled 23 in the last 2.
Well, there you go.
James Harden is shooting like 37, 38% in the series. Looking very, very mediocre. And, Rob, if they don't win, no team has ever in the 75-year history of the NBA lost a 3-0 lead in any round.
In any round ever.
Ever. And, Rob, if the Sixers lose game 6, and it's in Toronto, so the Raptors like their chances. If they lose game 6, Rob, can you imagine how tight James Harden, Doc Rivers, and I even think Joel Embiid are going to be?
Oh no! If they will be sick, and it'll be hard. Yes, you could block everything out, Chris, and say it's just one game and all that, but all the stories will be about Doc Rivers.
Yep.
What has happened? James Harden has had meltdowns in big games. Embiid hasn't always been great in some of these big moments. So all this stuff is now added up. And then the scary part is the Raptors are playing with house money, and nobody expects them to win. They could just go out and play. Don't worry about it. If we don't win, people say, man, you guys really fought back. Right.
They've already won just by getting to a game 7.
And then, people go, well, Nick Nurse, man, he's a good coach. They didn't quit on him. They didn't give up. They fought back. Okay, they lost in 7. That was hard. Nobody's ever done it. But if they do it, there's going to be hell to pay in Philly. Hell to pay.
And, Rob, look, we said, it's not second guess. When Doc Rivers was hired by the Sixers, what did we say? We're like, how do you win that press conference?
We didn't.
Not only
figure
had
it
Doc
out.
blown a bunch of 3-1 leads, he's blown 3. He's the only coach in NBA history to blow more than 1 3-1 lead. But he was just coming off doing it, Rob.
Right.
He got fired with the Clippers.
We both thought he'd sit on the sidelines for a year, get the stink off him, and then somebody could say, okay, well, Doc has got a ride, blah, blah, blah.
Or he
won
could
a
have went
championship.
to the booth, right? He broadcasted before. He was great. He could have done that easily and just kind of gone
That's
away
what we
into that.
thought, and we were shocked that they introduced him as the coach in Philly, and he got a 5-year deal like he had won a championship.
Yes. And we brought this up, and my goodness, I mean, wouldn't it just be, it would be the very thing that people are criticizing him for is what would come back to bite him, and worse than ever.
How do they make him like? How could the Lakers his name came up in that Laker? I mean, Chris, can you imagine? Because the only way he would be available is if they got knocked out early. So I'm saying, how does that work where he's going to go to the Lakers?
Well, look, if he blew a 3-0 lead, I don't know that he'd ever coach again.
Wow. You might not.
I mean, what do you think? Maybe.
No, I know what you're saying.
He's got a great rep. He still was named one of the 15 best coaches ever.
But it is about, like, as the GM, how do you, how do you have that press conference, right? Right. You got to be able to sell it. Because if I'm at the press conference or Chris is at the press conference, like, the questions will be a little like, please tell me, like, why did you hire Doc? He's had failures and recently in the postseason. Why do you believe he's going to be able to get you over the hump this time?
Right. Absolutely. So, and then James Harden, Rob, and I'm sorry, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but if they lose this series, I get, look, you traded Ben Simmons, who was a star, with all his flaws, and you don't want to just lose him for nothing, right? Because you also gave up a great shooter in Curry, and Andre Drummond's just a big body. So I get it, not wanting to lose that for nothing. But, Rob, I don't know. What Harden, if I'm Daryl Morey, I'm thinking, first of all, I'm open to a sign and trade, right? If another team wants, I'm open to it. I'm not saying I definitely do it. I'm open to it. And I'm also thinking, like, James, let's look, 2-year deal. 2-year deal, big money. 2-year deal, $50 million each year, whatever, they can max him out at. I'll do that. But
I would do that, but not long term. Right. No way.
5 years?
No way.
I mean, he looks like he's on his last leg now.
But he will get paid, Chris, and you know that because it's the nature of the beast. And teams can't feel like they got players. They gave up players for him, and then they're like, we just can't let him walk.
And Morey loves him too. Morey loves him. So